of the stadium acknowledge me. Hello everyone and welcome to Kick It to Scoops. I'm your host Cooper, the sole admin of AFL Information, Trade Rumors and Results, Season 4, Episode 10. And Episode 10 is going to be a big one, just like every episode is. Today on Kick It to Scoops, what are we going to talk about? Well, obviously, we'll go through the rounds just gone and upcoming. My Saints got a 38-point victory over the Roos. We'll take it and move on. We had the return of Jack Hayes. Tom Liberatore is unfortunately concussed again. It'll be for an indefinite period of time. We had Geelong lose to Melbourne, so that's great. We had the Bulldogs lose to Hawthorn, so that's great. All of that and more we'll go through. Some more MRO news. Gee, there wouldn't be a week without some MRO chatter. Some interesting calls yet again. And also, too, we're going to go through some few things. So, obviously, the team of the week, Supercoach Talk, did really well this week. We'll get to that score very shortly. I'm going to review the rounds just gone and upcoming. And just some other stuff, new stuff in between. Start off with this. You want me on Cameo. Head to cameo.com/Cooper G. Want me to roast a friend, wish someone happy birthday, anything at all, cameo.com/Cooper G. Now, also, too, if you know any AFL, AFLW players, or any up-and-coming draftees, or any state league players, and you'd love some on the podcast, any Golden Challenge or an interview, please send me a message and try and get something sorted. Some interviews I'm trying to line up in Golden Challenge. I'm trying to line up with some people. So, again, I can't say anything until it's official and it's happened. But, yeah, so hopefully in the next few days you can see something very good on the channel as well. And maybe also on top of that, a brand new video coming out. I've already got it locked and loaded, just planning on when to post it. And it may relate to something that people like collecting. You can guess what that means. It's a video I've never done this type of style of video before on this channel. So on any channel for that matter. So look forward to that video when I do end up releasing that. And as I said, if you know any AFLW, AFL, any up-and-coming draftees or any state league players and loves on the podcast and Golden Challenge or an interview, please send me a message or try and get something sorted. All right. Let's just get right into it now. And hit the like button too if you haven't already. Subscribe. Once we hit 3K, there'll be some giveaways. So we've got to hit the 3K first. We're around 400 or so subscribers away. So you've got to keep smashing that sub button. Get your mates on board. They follow my Facebook channel, which has over 55,000 followers. My Instagram, which is almost at 4,000. We're about 20 odd subscribers away from 4,000 on Instagram, which is AFL Info Live. Let me get that banner up. So if you're not following on Instagram, there is the name there on the screen. Or if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Alrighty, let's get right into the thick of things with the world famous segment Scoops Goes Bang. Oh, wow. Scoops, what are we banging on today? Scoops, what are we banging on? Oh, God. Take 3. Scoops, what are we banging on about today? There we go. Third time's the charm, they say. Well, you know what? The first thing I'm going to be talking about is a few of those suspension incidents, but I'm going to start with the Sam Draper comments about Luke Beveridge and Essendon and Brad Scott throwing their big fit over it. Sam Draper, if you didn't know what Sam Draper said that there's some unhappy on a podcast elsewhere. Come on, Sammy, you know me, come on here. But, so he said some words about the Bulldogs and saying about Beveridge, like if Beveridge keeps staying, the players are going to start leaving. And he apparently was told to put the foot off the journo's opinion there in that podcast segment or whatever. Quite frankly, I find nothing wrong with that. I've seen Brad Scott, people at Essendon crying over it. I mean, I could understand the Bulldogs being pissed off because they spoke about their coach and mate or whatever. But from Essendon's side of things, why should they be having a sook at Sam Draper? For number one, he's speaking the truth because that's factually correct, and I know that. It's a fait accompli, as they say, or it's a certainty that Caleb Daniel will not be at the Western Bulldogs next year if Luke Beveridge remains, and even then, Caleb Daniel might leave. And quite frankly, and after losing to Hawthorn, this was before that. So the Bulldogs should be stacking Luke Beveridge. I've said this for 2 years or so. It's not news to me. It shouldn't be news to you. And what Sam Draper said was fine, factually correct, and opinionated correctly. What's wrong with what he said? Essendon cracked the shits. Brad Scott getting in a big fit, saying how pissed off he is at Sam Draper. Go listen to his press conference after the game on the weekend. He's carrying on about Draper's comments and how disappointed they are in him, blah, blah, blah. Mate, he didn't punch someone. He didn't hit someone across the head or something. You're acting like he did something serious. It was lighthearted too. Sam Draper tends to do that. You've seen what he did with the Adelaide crap with the, laying on the ground with the ball. I thought that was immature, which I suppose it can kind of show a trend. But in this instance, I didn't think he did anything wrong. And as I said, he's factually correct. So how could you be getting ridiculed for being factually correct? And yeah, you can say, oh, he shouldn't be commenting about other clubs. Big whoop. We want more of this stuff. And this is exactly why they say nothing, because the clubs overreact to the smallest of things. I want more people like Sam Draper to say stuff like that. Stop bullshitting and what can I say here without saying too much? Clubs are too overprotective. They don't let players do what they want to do. Let them be more open. Yes, there's a certain line you can't cross, of course. But what Sam Draper did, there was nothing wrong with that. And Essendon need to grow the flip up. They really do. There was nothing wrong with that. And on the Bulldogs side of the thing, I said, I suppose, as I just said before, you can be slightly pissed off with what he said. But if I'm Beveridge, I'd be more worried about beating Richmond this week and why you lost to Hawthorn, who are going bad. So I wouldn't be worried about what Draper said. I'd be more worried about that. And quite frankly, as I said, for the millionth time on this episode alone, Sam Draper, what he said about Beveridge and the players things, he is factually correct. So plain and simple, there's nothing wrong with what he said. In fact, it's what I've been saying for a very long time. Caleb Daniel will not be at the Western Bulldogs next year if Luke Beveridge remains, and even then he might be gone. Bailey Dale, Jack McRae, two other names who will, I won't say definitely, I'll be more confident with Caleb Daniel, but the other two, Dale and McRae, if they keep getting dropped and Beveridge remains, don't be surprised if both of them want to leave as well at the end of this year. If Beveridge goes, then they'll probably all stay. And Sanders, that won't happen now, but if this continues to happen, questions will be raised if he keeps getting dropped or keep getting left out, or the team will play in the sub. How could Beveridge hype him up as the best draftee he's ever seen, and then he's playing twos the last 2 weeks, and the week prior against us, he was the sub. And in prior games, he's been subbed out. So it makes no sense. His messaging is confusing. The players are annoyed. You can tell by that. Players are being played out of position. Players that are playing shouldn't be playing, and you know who they are. Just go look through the stats, and in previous times I mentioned this. And they're the guys that should be playing. Sanders should be playing. Now they finally started bringing in Dale and McRae, and Daniel should be playing. Wasn't Caleb Daniel an All-Australian defender, and he's getting dropped or subbed out, bullshit. Just like a repetitive cycle between Dale, McRae, Sanders, and Daniel and McRae, all freaking rotating between subbed and subbed out or dropped. It's like they are some of your best players. Sanders is your best young player, and their other three are some of your best experienced players, Dale and Daniel and McRae. McRae's a ball magnet. Daniel's an All-Australian halfback, and Dale is close to that as well. So, and terrific kick is Bailey Dale. Right foot, left foot, he does really well on both. So you can question Beveridge. Plenty of people have said they've got the people. I've always said that the Bulldogs' biggest issue is their key defenders. And people will keep ridiculing me for this, but Jed Buslinger, who they were top 10 pick in last year's draft, not this most recent one, the one before, he is their best key defender, and he hasn't played a bloody game. Now, that's how highly, number one, I rate Jed Buslinger, but also number two, how shit their other key defender options are. O'Donnell, no good. Keith, rubbish. Gardner, no good. Buku Karmas, no good. They're all fringe players. There's a few. Liam Jones, overrated. Never was good. So, all those guys are useless. And Jed Buslinger, the best young player they've got, along with Sanders, can't get a game, and he's getting stuck behind these hacks. in that key position area. I'd feel insulted if I was Jed Busslinger. And you worry about home factor. Gee, you can pencil in Jed Busslinger wanting to go back home to WA or leaving the Western Bulldogs completely. I don't know how long his contract is, but I think he's still got a couple of years now. He extended it, I believe, in his draft year. So, I mean, who's to say he can't leave? He'll definitely probably try. If he doesn't get a game this year, I would leave if I was him. A top 10 pick, not been playing a game in a year and a half, 1 year and 7 rounds, not 8 rounds now. So he's basically had 32 opportunities to play a game, and 32 times he got snubbed. So, Bulldogs, am I surprised this is happening? No, I'm not. And if they do make finals, they're just going to scrape in, if that. So, you can forget about how if they make finals, good on them. If they do, they won't go very far. Luke Beveridge, lift your game. Pathetic. Right. Now, Callum Brown and Lockie Schultz. So, first of all, if you've been living under a rock, Callum Brown from the Giants bumped Tom McCartan, who has a history of concussion. Like the Angus Brayshaw one with Maynard, I said then, and I want to say this in this instance, if Tom McCartan was forced to retire, it wouldn't be off this sole incident alone. Keep in mind, McCartan did miss months before in the preseason or something like that for a few months with concussion, or a month or something, a bit different than the standard concussion person would miss a week or two max. He missed like a month, 2 months, whatever. And he's had multiple concussions like his brother Paddy did, who had to retire through that way, unfortunately for him. And then, he might miss a couple of weeks too, McCartan here. Callum Brown bumped him, and I looked at this a bit closely. At first, I thought, he's screwed. Well, he got 3 weeks. Is 3 weeks the right call? He was concussed, so that gives him an automatic week. Did he try to hurt him? A little bit, not so much. I feel like maybe 1, 2 max, but 3 is just outrageous. I mean, you can punch people in the face like Jesse Hogan and Lockie Schultz and get 1 week, and then one of them gets downgraded from 1 to none in Hogan. It's just unbelievable. It's just embarrassing, Scott Petterbury can punch someone in the gut this year and get away with it. Plays in the past can punch players in the gut and get away with it. So, you do all that. Callum Brown is unfortunate. It was like the shoulder. It's like the side of his shoulder that hit him. He didn't elbow him like some people touted he did. He hit him with the side of his shoulder. So 1 to 2, I'd definitely cop 1 and maybe 2, but 3 is just ridiculous. Am I shocked? No. And this is what I will say. If this was a Patrick Dangerfield or a Scott Petterbury in most recent examples this year, or Bonapelli did that, they get nothing. They'll get nothing. One if they want to try and make a stand. They try and make stands. They set examples against the fringe players or players that they don't give a shit about. They don't. Callum Brown, by the way, had a fantastic year and back half of last year. He's probably been one of the best, most improved players in the competition in the last season or so as Callum Brown. Especially we came from a fringe player playing in the back line, now transition to the forward line. Great finals, elimination final against my Saints. I think 3 or 4 that game. Great before then, the month or 2 leading up to that elimination final against the Saints. And this year he started off like a house on fire as well. So one of the most improved players in the competition in the last year is Callum Brown from the Giants. But yeah, now that's that with that. He's had a great year. Disappointed for him to miss 3 weeks. I wonder if they'll appeal it. I don't think they are. So we'll see what happens. Now, Lockie Schultz. Craig McRae today spoke and said he was disappointed in Lockie and what he did. And basically the quote I've seen was basically they're accepting it without saying it. So they would have accepted it. They'd be stupid not to. But anyway, regardless, they'd just be wasting 10K at that point. Well, what's 10K to them? But they're not getting most. So what's the point? But with the way the AFL are and the inconsistencies, and Michael Christian was the guy that had to give him a week, I guarantee you and bet your bottom dollar that this would have been 3 or 4 weeks if this was number 1, not a Collingwood player, and 2, not a well-known player like Lockie Schultz. If this was a Saints player or some lower-level player from a team that they don't like, this would have been their set an example on him, like they've done a few other players this year, like Fairickham. How could you punch someone intentionally in the back of the head and get 1 week? I don't give a shit if you flushed him in the head. I don't care if you If you hit him really hard, or if you missed him, or if you went to punch him and he moved and you missed. The action. Do not wait for him to be knocked out to punish him. He does the stupid thing. I don't care how nice he is. I don't care if he was ex-teammates with Blake Acres. I couldn't give a shit who he was doing it to or who did it. He tried to punch him in the back of the neck, which is probably more severe than anything else, or in the back of the head. It's like a king hit, some people said. That was dirty. I don't care how good of a player he is or a good person he is. That should have been 3+. Now, Collingwood fans will cry. For starters, I like Lockie Schultz. I like Collingwood. So don't give me this bullshit that it's Collingwood or it's Lockie Schultz. I like Lockie Schultz. I've been a big fan of his. And he was really underrated at Freo. But that all doesn't matter in this instance. He should have got 3 weeks at bare minimum. And if he connected, you could have said goodbye to your season. Legitimately, goodbye. The whole season would have been wiped out for him for the last 16 weeks. That's if he connected, and that's if he was severely knocked out or even hospitalised or anything like that. He's lucky Blake didn't get severely hurt in this because he'd be copping a season ban probably. So the way the AFL work these days, if fucking Webster gets 7 weeks for that and Jack Higgins gets 3 weeks for doing what the game's meant to be doing and tackling players, well, he would have got a life sentence from the AFL at this point. Barry Hall, I know it was a long time ago, he should have been removed from the competition for what he did to Brent Staker. Andrew Gaff should have copped longer than what he did against Andy Brayshaw. Barry Hall was never a good player. Different years, different eras, as they say. Barry Hall was an idiot and always has and always will be, and still is now. Andrew Gaff, ripper guy, but again, like I said, with Lockie Schultz, he's a good guy too, but doesn't mean what he did was okay. Jimmy did what he did. Completely different, Jimmy's a good guy too. And by the way, I've got something for you North fans very shortly, so don't think I've forgotten about you, the Jimmy Webster stuff you did. Don't think you pull that trick on us, and I think I don't remember. I remembered all right, and wait till we get to the North in a second. In fact, they're going to be a late addition to Scoops Bangers and North Melbourne fans. Now, so Lockie Schultz, what he did was unacceptable. 1 week is ridiculous. It should have been at least 3 at a bare minimum. If Higgins gets 3 weeks for freaking tackling a player the right way and the way you're meant to do it, then Lockie Schultz should get way more than 3. I don't care what it is. It has to be way more than 3. He should have got 6. You don't wait for him to severely hurt someone to then go, oh, yeah, nah, that's bad. Nah, 6 weeks easily. Like, no. He attempted to punch him in the back of the head. Plain and simple. Or back of the neck. Who cares? He tried to punch him severely with his back turned as well. So that's a stupid act and should be heavily suspended. Concussed or not. And Blake Acres, what a freaking great player Blakey Acres has been. Former Saint, former Docker. He's killing it at Carlton. And then he got him on a low base salary too, Carlton. Blake Acres should be wanting 500,000 plus from next year onwards. That's how good he's been since he moved to Carlton. He's shown this at Saints in patches. He's shown this at Dockers more consistently, especially in his last year before they didn't want to offer him a contract and lowball him, which is making him look utterly ridiculous right now, especially Fremantle, considering he was at his best career form at Fremantle. He has shown patches at Saints, and he was much younger, playing through forward and mid and wing and etc. Where Freo was a dominant wingman. Argue he could have been All-Australian then in his last year at Freo as a winger. Some of the AFL don't name wingers there. It is what it is, and Lockie Schultz should be embarrassed with that. Sorry. Now, North Melbourne fans. Glad you didn't Scoops Goes Bang. Well, so you know how everyone, you think of, you go for your team, so, you look forward to, you're going, oh, I can't wait to play this team. Oh, gee, we've got a rivalry against them, oh, I can bank in 5-6 wins here. Oh, I reckon we'll be top 8 this year, yada, yada, yada. I think we could knock off some of the top teams, So what is that for North Melbourne, okay? They have no things to look forward to in their season recently and this year. We knew this going in. So you know how other clubs, fans will pencil in wins for their club? Who could you pencil in for for North Melbourne? No one, because they're useless. So, look, you know what? North Melbourne's highlight this year was to boo Jimmy Webster after what he did to Jai Simpkin in the preseason game at Moorabbin. The reason that's their season highlight, because that truly shows what a trash football club their fan base are, who actually have nothing to look forward to in the season. You want to know why? So they were looking forward to this since February of this year, okay? And what are we now? May 6th. So on the Saturday was May 4th. So you got basically 3 months to look forward to this, or just under 3 months, and you got roasted by us Saints fans and by Jimmy Webster. You know, we knew you'd act all tough. I knew that tough boy, man Zerha, would try and throw his weight around, especially when Jimmy had his back turned. And, you booed him when the ground announcer was announcing the player jumper numbers for the Saints. I knew this would happen, and this is why I filmed it in the vlog. If you haven't checked that vlog out, go check that out. And you were booing him, and we out-cheered your boos because you had your 20 fans there, and we had our 20,000+ there, and we were, cheering Jimmy, and you were booing him in your little small cheer squad. You probably had buy one, get one free to get more people in there because you wanted to boo Jimmy Webster. And again, throughout every disposal, you kept booing Jimmy a lot because he had 17 disposals, so you were really booing him a lot. And all 17 of those boos were outweighed by our cheers. So you failed at something that you couldn't stuff up. Just sums up North Melbourne's fans and the club this year. I mean, your one highlight you look forward to had nothing to do with the wins and losses, which should be for everyone, but not for you. And that was embarrassing. You lost. The North Melbourne fans had one thing to look forward to this year, which had nothing to do with wins and losses, and they failed. Gee, how embarrassing are you? And Jimmy had the last laugh. And one thing I want to point out to Cam Zerha, very hypocritical of a guy who roasted Jason Horne-Francis for, to quote him, run back to mummy, and didn't like an ice bath. And you know what? He was right there, all that. But he's a hypocrite when he's going to be do the same thing. Yeah, he's been there longer and he's a longer servant, blah, blah, blah. He's been disinterested all year. I don't care how many goals he kicks. He does absolutely nothing. He's completely overrated. He'll get another go. Also, Sydney apparently heavily linked to him. And he'll probably go there. Don't know why they would want him. They've got enough good players as it is. And it'd be a waste of money, especially if he's getting 700+. North Melbourne, I mean, they're no good already, but with or without Cam Zerha will make zero difference whatsoever. So let him go. Tough boy. Tries to knock Jimmy in the last quarter, I think it was, when he had his back turned. Jimmy looks at him, smiles, and we end up getting the free, I think, from it because Zerha thinks he's tough and has to hit someone when their back's turned. At least when Jimmy did what he did, which was not good enough against Josh Simpson last year in the preseason, at least Jimmy didn't do it to him when he had his back turned. Tough boy, Cam Zerha, who did nothing again. All right, hope you guys enjoyed that edition of the world-famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. Alrighty, I think it's now time for this. Well, let's just go through some news stories too while we're at it. Congratulations to Callan Ward, who will play game 300. That is a terrific milestone for a terrific player who is the heart and soul of the GWS Football Club and formerly at the Western Bulldogs. Callan, celebrated well this week. There's 300 games. There's nothing to gloss over. A guy that could have, given it up a while ago is stuck fat, and Callan Ward is well-deserved his 300-game milestone. So well done to Cal Ward. A big milestone. I don't think we'll hear about it too often this week because he's at the Giants, but which is honestly, from the AFL side of things, really disrespectful. They want to applaud all these players and, and rightfully so, they have these big milestones, But, do it for everyone. You can't just pick and choose who you want to do them for. Like, you got to do it for everyone and treat them all equally. But, the AFL has their favourites. I keep saying this all the time, that they have their favourites. But, do the right thing and celebrate Cal Ward in a terrific milestone. Well done to Callan Ward. 100 games to Sam Taylor. And 50 under Sam Taylor, if he does play this week, back from concussion, he should be back this week. What a great addition to be. The Giants have their tough loss against the Swans. And Tom Green has escaped a serious ankle injury, thank Christ, and he's a chance to play this week, if not the week after. And Elliot Yeo will miss, at this stage, 1 to 2 weeks with a groin injury. I've got in super coach, as I do with Tom Green. And 150 club games for Jack Steele, the man of steel, and 100 club games for Ryan Burton, and 50 career games for Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira from the Saints and Connor McDonald from the Hawks. Congratulations to those fellas on those milestones. Alrighty, let's go through right here, right now, my round 8 AFL team of the week. Alrighty, let's go through it now. Right, from the back line, the pockets, Luke Ryan and Dane Rampey. Fullback, Tom Barras. Half back line, the flankers, Nick Newman and Nick Martin. Centre half back, Stephen May. Wingers, Darcy Wilson and Blakey Akers. Centreman, Nick Dacos. Half forward line, the flankers, Dane Zorko and Zach Butters. Centre half forward, Josh Tracy. Forward pockets, Will Hayward and Jack Hayes. Full forward, Harry Mackay. Ruckman, Brodie Grundy. Centreman, Jack Sinclair. And Caleb Sarong. Interchange, Mitch Hinge, Zach Merritt, Dougal Howard, Charman Impey, and Hugh McCluggage. Emergencies, Josh Worrell, Sam Walsh, Colby McKercher, Max Holmes, Darcy Parish, Hayden Young, Lockie Neal, and Sam Flanders. Now, here's the team on the screen right here. Now, reasons, Luke Ryan, 38 disposals for a key defender is nothing to gloss over, so I don't even need to go through all his intercept disposals and 1%ers. Tom Barras, 22 disposals for a key defender, like 11 intercept possessions, like 11 1%ers, like 13 marks. He's a lock. No one that can dispute that. Dane Rampey, over 20 disposals for a key defender that can play as an intercept as well and run a little bit. He was really good as well, over 20 touches. Nick Newman, over 30, was a lock. Nick Martin, over 30, was a lock. Stephen May, 25, had a lot of 1%ers in intercept possessions and marks. He was a lock. Darcy Wilson played the best game of his career. He's had a terrific season and would easily be leading the Rising Star right here, right now. Kicked 3 goals, 20 disposals with a lock, and the speed star is Darcy Wilson. Blakey Akers on the wing had over 30, had a really good game for Carlton despite their loss to the Pies. Nick Dacos, who kicked the match-winning goal, 2 goals, 32 disposals, including that match winner, was a lock. Dane Zorko had 40 disposals at half forward, was a lock. I mean, he had 35 kicks. He was one off equaling the record of 36 in this century, apparently. Will Hayward kicked 4. Zach Butters had 33 disposals, had a good game despite the power was lost to the Crows. Josh Tracy kicked 4. Will Hayward kicked 4. Aaron Mackay kicked 4. Jack Hayes kicked 2, but he has 17 disposals, 6 marks, 8 marks, had a few hit-outs, like 4 clearances for forward ruck. In his first game back, did really well, and he made his presence known kicking those 2 goals as well and had a really good game. Brodie Grundy was the best ruckman this round. Jack Sinclair was terrific and potentially BOG. I'm not going to reveal my votes as my Brownlow votes were at the end of the year. Jack Sinclair kicked 2 goals and 32 disposals. Caleb Sarong, over 30 disposals, was terrific as well. Mitch Hinge, 25 disposals off halfback. A great kick as Mitch Hinge. Another player I feel like St Kilda should be looking at targeting, throw him a 3-year deal and see what happens, maybe 4. Same with Callum Brown while you're at it. Zach Merritt kicked 3, 29 disposals was a lot. Dougal Howard was really good. You could argue he'd be on the ground with his 13 intercept disposals and like 7 1%ers, but every 13 marks, it was just really hard. I had him in, and then I took him out, and then I put him in. I'm like, damn it, there's Ryan at 38, Barras at 22, and 11 1%ers. It's like Stephen May at 25, Rampy at like 23, and had similar 1%ers, and it was just really hard to fit Dukes in, but he deserved to spot on the team. He was that good. Jarman Impey, 27 disposals, was good for the Hawks. Hugh McCluggage was good for the Lions at around 33 disposals at high efficiency. Josh Worrell, I had in the team at first, and then as I just named with Dukes, same reason he was the next after Dukes, so that's why he's there. Sam Walsh was the next midfielder. Holmes was a part of that midfield brigade with Parrish and Young and Neil. Flanders played off halfback, then pushed into the midfield in the second half. And Colby McCurch played off halfback. So there were the other options. It was really light on for forwards this week. So let me know your thoughts down below what your team of the week would have been. But that is mine. And that's my opinion. All right. Now, let's go to the next segment, which will be going through my Supercoach talk. So in Supercoach this week, I scored 2,201. I went up again in the rankings, as I bloody well should, and I'm now in the top 37%. I mean, it's not a great number. I think it was 45 only a round or two ago. So, I mean, gradual improvement. I want to get it back to around 20% after the next couple of rounds and then keep going from there. But it's going to have to be, a lot of work. No more boost trades I have left. So this is my team. So from the back line, the back line, Nick Dacos, Harry Sheasel, James Sicily, Bailey Dale, who I brought in last week. Did have Sinclair at one point, then switched it to Dale because of the break even. The Sideway and Malira, I was going to trade him out last week, but couldn't. So, because other moves had to do. So, worked well to a degree. Sam Closey, bench, Toby Pink, who came in, was a bloody sub. Key defenders, the sub shows sums up how North are going this year. Zach Reid, obviously still injured. Caleb Sarong I brought in. Elliot Yeo is bloody injured, so I'll have to take him out. Tom Green's the same, but Tom Green might play this week, so I have to wait and see. Might just bench him for the week if he misses. Elliot Yeo, I'll probably trade out. I haven't done it yet, and if I had, I wouldn't have told you who. Sam Walsh, Tuke Miller, Rory Laird, Christian Petrarca, who's really pissing me off at the moment. Will Graham and the bench, Harvey Thomas, Harvey Gallagher, Sean Manor. Rucks, Rowan Marshall, and Brody Grundy, their locks. Cameron Livingston on the bench. The forward line consists of Isaac Heaney, Sam Flanders, Darcy Wilson, Sam Darcy, who might go this week in my team, Hugo Garcia, Darcy Jones been terrific, Alex Sexton and Biggie Newen on the bench. As I watched St Kilda's VFL game yesterday against North Melbourne, Biggie Newen came off late with what appeared to be some form of a hamstring injury. So I'll be a bit annoyed if he's out because I wanted him to make some more cash and get back in this week, hopefully, with their rubbish defenders. So disappointing, but, it is what it is. Hopefully it was just a cramp or whatnot because he didn't come back on after that. In saying that, it was in the last 5 to 10 minutes of the game, if that. So maybe even less than that. So yeah, we'll have to wait to see there. But yeah, that's my team. I'm looking at, see Tom Green and Elliot Yeo. I do really have to make my mind up what I'm doing there. I'm more than likely to trade out Elliot Yeo and not Tom Green and maybe do a downgrade somewhere else or upgrade as well. I have to wait and see. I've got 80K remaining at the moment, 81K to be precise. So I have to wait and see there what I do there. But yeah, comment down below what you got in Supercoach, how you're going. But yeah, congratulations to Zach, who is still in the top 5. Graz, who was in the top 5 last week and has been for most of the year, is currently out of that top 5. But, that's okay, Graz. You can pop back in there, mate. And Zach is still in there. But chin up that Graz in particular. Yeah, we're not going to talk about where I am in that league, in my league, but of the 222 people in it. Congratulations to Alan, whose username is Vessel, who is in first place by 56 votes ahead of Rowan the Saints, which is Declan. Saying Graz is 5th. Beg your pardon. It got updated. Sorry, Graz is 5th. Zach's gone to 9th after this week. Studi is in 6th place, called Studi's Superstars. I wonder if that's the real one. Interesting. Anyway, there you go. All right, now let's go review the round 8 games. So, all right. So it started on... So let's go through the games. So Thursday night at Adelaide Oval, it was Port Adelaide and Adelaide's home game. Crows by 30 points. Adelaide 78, Port Adelaide 48. Port Adelaide did not bring in Jeremy Finlayson in this game, and I'm sure they'll bring him in this week now, but all too late. Obviously, Rosie played with a hamstring injury, and that showed to bite them in the arse. Ken admitted after the game, said he kind of Rosie shouldn't have played. Yeah, all well and good to say that now, but you shouldn't have played, Connor. And I took you out of Supercoach anyway. I know people that had him that were pissed off of him playing and for the Supercoach, but I knew this had happened, so that's why I took him out. Didn't want to, really. Oh, I did and didn't want. He wasn't really going that well, I know he was averaging like 115, but like he's had some 90s and just over 100. So I'm like, not good enough for someone at 600k, to be honest. But anyway, so that game alone, Hinge was terrific. Worrell was good. Rankin did his part as well. Laird was terrific. I thought Riley O'Brien was okay. So yeah, poor Adelaide Zach Butters, and that's about it. I mean, what's more to say? Port to be disappointed and back to the drawing board. They got Geelong this week, who they won't have Connor Rosie. Obviously, Sam Palpero unfortunately did his ACL against the Saints a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago now, 2 games ago now. So see what they do with that 4 line. What do they do with those key defenders, Asava Radigalia and Brendan Thatcher? Hendo Alir, he'll be back this week. Just one of them go out. They play Geelong, who've got Hawkins and Cameron. Radigalia may play against his old side if he doesn't get dropped, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't think Radigalia or Zerk Thatcher should be playing AFL footy at all. They're sample hacks, but so is Jordan Sweet and Ivan Soldo, but here we are. There's nothing against them, by the way. It's just they're not the ones picking the sides, so Ken shouldn't have them in the team. Or Josh Carr, whoever's pulling the strings, as people say it's Josh Carr, then it's Ken Inkley, yada, yada, yada. Whatever I say. All right. Next game to go through was Carlton and Collingwood, 79-85. Collingwood by 6 points. Now, okay, I want to stress enough in this game, and how many times do I have to say this? I don't care how much of a free ride Carlton had this year, but Carlton were robbed of an opportunity at the end of that game from a Pendlebury deliberate out of bounds. See, Scott Pendlebury is one of the smartest players in the competition, okay? He knew what they were doing. They just kicked that goal. They were up by 6. He kicked that goal with 45 seconds left. He gets the ball through the midfield and kicks it all the way to the boundary line, about 60 out from their goal, 65 out towards the wing. And you're going to tell me that that's where Pendlebury was kicking when there was no one there and that wasn't paid deliberate? Good God. They were robbed of an opportunity. Carlton, you can say, Carlton have had their fair share. They've won a few games. Yes, they have, and I'm not disagreeing with that. But that's got nothing to do with this instance here. Carlton were robbed of an opportunity to equal the game with 45 seconds to go. People are like, they wouldn't have scored from. How the hell do you know? I don't know, but you don't know either. You don't know what could have happened. So I'd be pissed off if I was Carlton fans, and some are. But, you got lucky against Freo Carlton fans. That's still, regardless, ridiculous. Swans, 98. GWS 69, Swans by 29. Disappointing after the Giants kicked the first 5 goals of the game. Tom Green went off in the first quarter. I was not happy. I had him in as captain on my fantasy team, which I don't really talk about, but I had him in captain there. I'm invested in that, but not as much as Supercoach, let's just put it that way. But, it is what it is there. Great win after the turnaround from the first quarter from the Swans. Grundy was terrific. I thought Hayward was great. Heaney and Warner and Gordon and Rowbottom, Rampy all played their part. 24 disposals for Rampy and 7 marks. But he did really well as well. Next game going to go through, which was the Saints and North Melbourne. St Kilda 103 to North Melbourne 65. The Saints by 38 points. Darcy Wilson is the clear standout right here, right now, for the Rising Star. It was my dark horse before round 1. I didn't tip Harley Reid. I tipped Colby McKercher, who would be second place right now, in my opinion, right now. So reverse the roles for them. People saying Harley Reid. He had 2 great games, not the one on the weekend, the 2 prior, or the rest game, the Freo one and the game before that or whatever. And he done nothing in the 3 or 4 other games, including the weekend. So pipe down. Darcy Wilson's been the most consistent all year. Kicked 3 goals, 20 disposals this week. Had great numbers last week. The week prior against Richmond, he won the nomination. And first game of the year, kicked 2, almost won us the game against Geelong with his late goal. So he's been terrific. Absolutely terrific, Darcy Wilson. Top draft, first round draft pick, gun, winger, hard runner, good kick, good person. And I think he would be the winner for the Rising Star if the season was to end right now. He was terrific on the weekend again. I think the shit it was against North Melbourne. He was still really good, and he's 18 years of age. So this bullshit of you played North crap is ridiculous. So he was great, terrific. Jack Hayes was terrific in his return game. 2 goals, 17 disposals, like 6 marks, 4 clearances. Terrific. About 6-7 years as a backup ruckman. Did really well, Jack Hayes. His presence was felt there. Did really, really well. Brad Hill had his good moments. So did Nasiwa and Millerian patches. Jack Steele was okay. Jack Sinclair, Sinks was terrific. 2 goals, 32 disposals. Was a key player through that midfield. See, Ross played the man in the midfield. Yes, he's a 2-time All-Australian off halfback. But we need him more in the midfield, especially when Crouch is out and Dow hasn't been in and Henry's been out. That's exactly where Sinks needs to be, with or without those guys, to be honest. Maybe not. You don't have to do it for the whole game when Crouch and Co are back, but more consistently, not little bursts, bit more than a little few bursts. When we need to score, it's your man to put in the midfield. And he proved it this game again. He has in previous games when he's played in this position and last year as well. And while Ratton was coach as well, he proved it as well. Right, a win's a win. That's sort of Colby coach. I thought Harry Sheaves had his worst game of his career. Had 9 turnovers. I thought the Saints were too good. Convincing win. Should have won by more. So we go inside 50 and miss a few opportunities. Was disappointing. But it's North Melbourne. We move on. Not to gloat about, but a win's a win, and we should have won by more. But convincing win. It's convincing because they were never in it. That's why it was convincing, plain and simple. And that's just not an insult. That's just a fact of life. Yeah, acknowledge me and acknowledge that fact that I'm right and I'm better than you, and you know it. I'm the tribal chief. I am the head of the table. Now, Geelong and Melbourne. Melbourne 74, Geelong 66. Melbourne by 8 points. Bailey Fridge had a good late goal. Max Gawn kicked a good long goal. He seems to do them and miss the easy ones from 10 metres directly in front. Maxie does. Fun fact, I met Clayton Oliver during the week. There's an exclusive for you. And now he had a BOG performance. I'm not going to reveal, our conversation, but he did a good gesture. And look, see what happened. He had a great game on the weekend. So well done, Clayton Oliver. And then, they got the win, and Geelong fans are crying. They've been carrying on that they were going to go through undefeated, and the flag was already there. It's freaking 3 rounds ago. It's just embarrassing to hear that. And Melbourne put them back in their place, and they're 7-1. Good on them. There won't be one loss much longer as they play Port this week at home. If there's no match fixing in that game, they will probably lose that too. So we'll see. No, Rosie, but Port are better than people give them credit for. I don't understand the Port hate. Port are better than what people think they are. So the next game, West Coast and Essendon. West Coast 71, Essendon 77. This was the best game of the round. Oh, maybe not over the Carlton Collingwood, but this was the next best game of the round, if not the best for me. Better than the Melbourne Geelong game, better than the Hawthorn Bulldogs. I thought this game was really good. And lucky there was a bit of a 40-minute overlap. So I watched the whole second half of this West Coast game, and they did really well. Really well. But Jamie Cripps, my man Cripps. Jamie, helped the Saints make finals last year. Love you for that, mate. And you're talking about Saints. Yeah, cost them the game, pretty much. Silly. And I'm sure Simo's gutted, and he would be. You could have won your team the game again, Jamie. You've been a great servant in the AFL for not only not so much at Saints, but definitely for the Eagles. But costly moments there from Jamie Cripps, which he'd love that back. Waterman was frustrated. Waterman's going to miss this week with concussion too, so that's another huge blow for them, along with Elliot Yeo out, and who knows if Harley Reid right now with the hamstring. Adam Simpson's going to be on Perth radio TV tonight. As of this recording, I don't know what's happened with Harley. He'll play, but you've got 2 key outs now with Waterman, who's a common medal chance this year now, whether you like it or not. See, funnily, when I said round 2 or 3, he'll be a chance for All-Australian this year. He is the All-Australian full forward or centre forward this year. He's a lock right now. So unless he doesn't do anything for the rest of the year, which I doubt it, if he kicks a couple of games now, he's got to be in the All-Australian team. Plain and simple. And then obviously you've got the other tall guys around him that could be around the team as well. So he's got to make the top 3 for sure for key forward or tall players. He can play off the half-forward line in the team if you need to. He was good. He kicked 2 or 3 as well. Merritt and not McGrath. I mean, he was okay, but Merritt and Martin were Essendon's best players. The Eagles, Yeo was good before he was injured in his 200th game. Tim Kelly was good. But yeah, I think as a whole, the Eagles will be happy with how they went, but obviously pissed off with how the ending went. Now, the Sunday games, outside the Bulldogs game, there's not much to say here. Richmond Fremantle, Richmond 49, Freo 103, 54 points. Freo did what I expected Freo to do, and smash the Tigers. Tigers, a bit of a dodgy umpiring, I felt, in this game in time, so their fans were getting angry. And fair enough for this game. I thought it was a bit dodgy, heavily favouring Freo a bit more than it should have. And don't give me this, Freo were robbed against Carlton, which they were, but like, don't say this is like evening it up. That's bullshit. That can't take it on someone else for that. But regardless, Richmond was shit. They were expected to be shit. They got a bunch of injuries. So I get that with Prestia and all those guys out, and Taranto, etc. And Bolter and Lynch, but that's just the names that come to mind. And now Graham and Hopper from the weekend. So it's like, not like it's not a surprise. But even with those guys, I don't feel like they're winning this anyway. Probably wouldn't be 54 points, but they still wouldn't win. Freo did what they did. Tracy and Ryan and Sarong was good. Darcy was good. Sean Darcy before he got subbed off tactically. For Richmond, we can't really say anyone was good there. Dan Rioli, suppose was okay. But, McKelty Lafau had his moments, especially early in the game. What's the word? He was gone quiet in the second half. Now, the Bulldogs and Hawthorn. Bulldogs 91, Hawthorn 98, 7 points. Oh, this is great. This is great. Nick Watson had an embarrassing moment late in the game with Sicily and almost cost him the game, and I'm glad it didn't. Nick Watson, by the way, yes, he was the sub, the wizard they call him. He deserves to be dropped. That was embarrassing. I mean, if Hawthorn had lost that, it would be because of that. And, might sound harsh, but it's the truth. And Sicily knew that because that's how he reacted. He apologised for it. But why apologise for that? We know why you were angry, because that could have cost you the game at the point. And luckily, in the end, it didn't. If you lost, you probably wouldn't have said that you said that. Anyway, he was a bit sore. Sicily played up 40. You can have a rest against my Saints this week if you like, but I've got him in Supercoach. It's a bit of a play, but don't dominate. Still score 100 type. Get some cheapies. That'd be nice. Maybe spoil your own players for the ball out of bounds. Get some points for that while stuffing up your own team in the process. So it might work for me. Anyway, but yeah, great win for the Hawks. Connor McDonald was really good. Jarman Impey was terrific as well. Lloyd Meek, I thought he was terrific. And, you could argue he could have been in my team of the week for the starting ruck spot over Grundy. I would say, I know I didn't put him in the emergencies, but he would be the next ruck option for me. Lloyd Meek, he was terrific against Tim English as well, a former All-Australian ruckman of last year. How Rowan Marshall didn't get it last year was freaking ridiculous. How they both weren't in, and Rowe goes on the field and English on the bench, but here we are. Talking about rigged umpiring and rigged All-Australian, there's that. The umpiring this round, by the way, people think I'm not going to mention it, was rubbish. I'm not even bothering this week. Fucking embarrassing, but here we are. The Bulldogs, who could you say was good? I thought Dale was really good, especially early. Did well for me in Supercoach. Trelaw was good. Liberatoris says concussion, will be out indefinitely. Wish him all the best. But yeah, that was shit. I know they only just lost, but it's Hawthorn, so it's embarrassing. Now, Brisbane, 34-point victory over the Suns in the Q clash. Brisbane, 79. Gold Coast, 45. 10-19, 79 to 6-9, 45. Brisbane by 34 points. As I said earlier, Dane Zorko, 40 disposals, 35 kicks, was one kick away of equaling the record of the most kicks in this century. Hugo McCluggage was good. Sam Flanders was good for the Suns. But look, this is what I want to say, and I want to stress this enough. That, people are like, Brisbane kicked straight in the second half when they kicked like 10 points in a row. They should have won by 60-plus points. Yada, yada, yada. Goals were rubbish. Not doubting that goals were rubbish. But Gold Coast equally had as many chances to get in within a reasonable distance in margin. The last quarter, Ben Long gets subbed on. Don't get me started on Ben Long. I've told you how much of a fringe player he is and how he shouldn't be on an AFL list, and he's still somehow there. And when St Kilda lost him, I was happy because I didn't rate him at all. Comes on the ground within a minute, bumps someone in the tough play he is. It reminds me a bit of Cam Zurhaar in that. Just bumps someone for no reason, gives away a 50 within the first minute of him getting subbed on. That sums up their game, the Gold Coast. I feel like Lukosius, who's normally great, he missed some easy opportunities in the last half of the game, particularly in the last quarter. Their execution in inside 50. I know for a fact there was one example, and this again sums up Ben Long's football career. He had the ball about 70 metres out, marked it and was playing on or whatever. The Brisbane player was coming towards him a little bit. Oh no, that's right. He was open, and then the Brisbane player slowly came towards him from the side or whatever. And he had Tom Berry out the side, about 15 metres forward towards the right of him, towards the boundary. Could have handled it over to him. And then the Brisbane player where Lukosius was on a one-on-one, was manned up. He was never going to mark it. The man, if Long passed it to Berry could have kept running in to about 30 metres out on the slight angle in the end, because he could have came in on an angle from the boundary towards in, because there was a big space. Or, worst case, Lukosius's man would have drawn up to Berry then hands over the top. Lukosius runs into an open goal from about 20 metres out and waltz straight in. No one else was in vicinity of the area. Waltz in, basic goal. So that's why Ben Long should never be playing AFL again. And never should have got in to begin with. And that's just one of many examples where goals. This is what I'm saying, like, guys. Like, people are like, oh, but Brisbane missed all these points. Goal goes sometimes didn't score. You had Lukosius and Noah Anderson hack kick it or Shane kick it going inside 50 where they could have scored easily from, and those two are bloody good kicks normally, especially Lukosius. And they just missed it. It rolled out of bounds, went out in the full, hit the behind post. It's like they had more opportunities than you think. So, they had their opportunities, but, it is what it is. Right. Now, let's go preview round 9. Now, let's go through the games to wrap things up with the games this week. So, we'll start off on Thursday night at the MCG. We have Carlton hosting Melbourne at the MCG. 7:30 Victorian time. Oh, this will be an interesting one. I'm going to tip... it's a hard one. I'm going to tip Melbourne in this one by 4 points. This is a really hard one to tip. On Friday, we've got a Friday night doubleheader. They're doing their experimenting again like they did once this year. And I don't mind this. Maybe not the 2 games they got, because I'll probably want to watch both of them, especially how they're both going at the moment. But obviously, when the fixture was out, you didn't expect that to be the case. We have Friday night, 7:10 Vic time at G-Matrio Stadium. It's Geelong hosting the Power. No Connor Rosie for the Power, as I said. Lear should be back in, hopefully, for the Power, and we'll need him against Hawkins and Cameron. Hawkins has been goalless through the last 4 games. People are saying he should be dropped. He's still been okay, and why would they drop him for? Who are they going to bring in? Got no one. Shannon Neal? No. Phoenix Foster? He's injured and was concussed 2 weeks ago, and he's only young. So, no, that's not happening. They've got no one else. They're the only other 2 options they've got. Toby Conway's a ruckman, not a forward. Unless Stanley plays forward and then Conway does the ruck. But even then, I wouldn't do that. Hawkins is always going to play if he's fit and available. I'm actually tipping the Power in this one, believe it or not. Sometimes a loss to Geelong, it could lead to more things. Burleigh, they had a loss too, but, no one will be expecting them to win this now with Rosie out. So there's not as much pressure on them as they may have had with Rosie and Co in the team. So I'm going the Power by 5 points in this one. Bit interesting, some will say, but hey, the favourites don't always win. The other Friday night game up in Perth at Optus Stadium, 8:30 Victorian time, is Fremantle hosting the Swans, who are on the top of the ladder. I'm going to tip the Swans here by 15 points here. I just think that they'll get the job done when it matters most. Next game to go through, which are all on Saturday, and it starts with my Saints and the Hawks. Hawthorn hosting the Saints Saturday, 1:45 in Tassie in Launceston. I'm obviously tipping my Saints. I feel like this is going to be one of those games, a bit like the North game. Maybe the margin won't be as much, but I feel like we'll win. It may or may not be convincing, but I feel like we'll get the win by 15 points. So we never smash teams. I've mentioned this forever. I think we get the job done and win by 15 points. Paddy Dow and Liam Henry. Well, Liam Henry will definitely play in terms of will be selected. And Paddy Dow and Zach Jones will be contention that's coming to the Saints side after playing in the VFL the last few games now through injury and whatnot. So obviously the Saints by 15 points. Saturday, 4:35 p.m. at Marvel Stadium. It's Essendon hosting the Giants. I'll be tipping the Giants by 20 points here. Jai Caldwell's in doubt to face his old side and probably won't play. He might, but we'll have to wait and see. The Giants by 15 points. And as I said, this game will mark game 300 for Callan Ward, the former Bulldog and tough player at the Giants. 300 games is a milestone not to gloss over, as I said earlier. No coverage I've heard in the media so far, which is pathetic. So I'll do it for them. Congratulations to Callan Ward on 300 games and 300 tough games. You talk about a player who defines the sport in being tough and not being soft. A tough player courageous player is Callum Ward, a former captain in the AFL as well. Well done, Cal. The Giants for 15 points, and I think Callum Ward will get a goal in his milestone game. And I'm gonna make this bold prediction right now. Callum Ward not only gets a goal in his milestone game, he kicks the winning goal to get the Giants to victory or to seal the game for them. I'm just picturing it right now. Callum Ward, game 300, kicks the winning goal for the Giants to either hit the front or be the sealer to help them win the game. There you go. You heard it here first. That's Twilight Game and Marvel. So on Saturday night, 2 Saturday night games, both at 7:30. The first one is Gold Coast hosting North Melbourne in Darwin at TIO Stadium in those conditions, the humid conditions, hot conditions, muggy, sweaty conditions is whatever you want to say. The Suns will win by 30 points here. They'll bounce back. Also, as I said, 7:30 Vic time. Also, all these times are Vic time. 7:30 p.m. Richmond v the Bulldogs at the MCG. You know what? If Richmond get a few of those guys back, like Graham and the Hopper, I'll give them a chance. I'll tip the Bulldogs, but it's close to tipping Richmond. But Richmond were garbage this week too, so I'll go the Bulldogs. But if Bulldogs lose this, Beveridge has got to go. I mean, I've been telling you for 2 years he's got to go. But this will be the game you would think if they lose this and lose badly, he's gone. But then again, the team, well, actually, this could be one of those instances where sucking a coach during the year, not even mid-season, could work. Because they've got the playing list, people say. Players are being played out of positions. Fringe players are playing. Hacks are playing. Good players aren't playing. Good players are getting subbed. Good players are getting subbed out. Like Sanders, McRae, Daniel, and Dale should be playing every week, but Beveridge doesn't do that. I don't know what the hell is wrong with him. It's not they're intentionally losing or tanking to a degree, because they should all be playing. I'm tipped the Bulldogs in this one by 20 points over Richmond. And the final, the Sunday games to go through at the no, it's not at the MCG. The 2 games on Sunday, 1 p.m. at Marvel Stadium. It's Collingwood hosting the Eagles. With Waterman out, with Yo out, with potentially Harley Reid out, I'll be tipping Collingwood by 20 points in this one. The Eagles do all right at Marvel. They proved it late last year against the Bulldogs when they won that, but then against the Bulldogs. And the final game to wrap up round 9 at the Adelaide Oval on Sunday, 4 p.m. Vic time, Adelaide Oval. Adelaide hosting Brisbane. Brisbane back. I never wrote them off. I said they'll probably still bounce back and make the finals. So I'm going Brisbane here by 15 points to get the job done here. All right. So my final thoughts are simply this. You want me on Cameo. Head to cameo.com/CooperG. Want me to roast a friend, wish someone happy birthday, anything at all, cameo.com/CooperG. Please follow my Instagram page, AFL Info Live. We're approaching 4,000 subscribers on there. We're over 55,000 going on 56,000 on Facebook. On YouTube, we're about 400 away from 3K. So get subscribing. And once we hit 3K on YouTube, there'll be some prize giveaways there. And trust me, I may have been saying this for a long time, but you want to sub, get people. You're watching this and you're not subscribed. I don't know why you're not. Go and subscribe. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. It costs absolutely nothing. And I don't force you to pay to watch my content, okay? It's plain and simple, unlike some. And also, if you know any AFLW, AFL, any up-and-coming draftees or any state league players, and you love something on my podcast and a Gold King challenge or an interview, please send me a message and we'll try and get something sorted. You know, I love doing them all. There's plenty to come. There's been plenty that have happened recently. Some names that just come off the top of my head in terms of goal kicking. Alicia Pisano from the D's, Elaine Greig from the Bulldogs, were both top 10 picks in this year's draft. Emma Stark, who's an AFLW umpire and is an AFLW draft prospect for this year. Kara from the Sandy Dragons. London Ashcroft from the Western Bulldogs VFLW side, who was a part of the Swans Academy prior to the last year. So there's just some of many names that I've had on for goal kicking challenges and plenty of interviews as well. So please go and check that out. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you all. Until the next video, have a great one. The most important thing of all to remember is go the Saints and, of course, acknowledge me, the one, and all aboard the Filippo train. Then, now, forever, together. Go Saints!